Welcome. This is Dr. Nancy Zare, and this program is called Seize Your Sales Success. And I want to thank you for participating in this program and investing in your learning and your skills. Questions to get us started. Are you here to increase sales? I'm guessing you are. And what about improving your communication skills, perhaps decreasing stress as well as gaining confidence? Would you like to know the secret for how you can do both? It's called AlikeAbility. AlikeAbility. Quick story about Millie. She was given a referral from one of her clients, and that was so exciting that she was recommended and she was sure she would get the deal. However, when she met with this individual, she found out that his style and hers were very incompatible, and she really didn't have the words or the approach to know how to connect with him in a way that landed the deal. And as a result, she walked away disappointed. Here's what I can promise you. You're going to learn who you're speaking with and what their values are that underlie their decision-making capacity. You're going to know exactly what to say to build rapport quickly and authentically in order to get hired. And you'll know the best approach to take in order to land the deal. You see, most salespeople, most professionals are stuck in only one way of communicating. Just like Millie, they were ill-prepared and weren't able to shift themselves. And yet, the best salespeople outsell the average 57-1. What is it that they're doing that you're not? You see, they have what I call the chameleon effect. When you put a chameleon on the green leaf, they're green. When you put them on the brown rock, they're brown. And they do it imperceptibly. You can't really see what's going on. You take a close look, hoping to figure out, and yet they do it in the blink of an eye. And if you ask them a question, some of these best salespeople, how do you do it? They don't have an answer because they're not teachers and they're doing it on automatic. So it looks like it's a secret, but as I've already told you, it's called AlikeAbility. AlikeAbility. My goal here is to help you get unstuck, to expand your repertoire, to be able to talk with all four decision-making styles in a way that will help you get the sale. And I do it through a system called AlikeAbility. Now, I've talked about that word several times. It's a word that I have coined, so therefore I get to give you the definition. And it is the skill that raises the perception of being alike the other person. It's a skill, meaning you can learn it, and I can teach it, and I teach it very well. What would be the benefit of being likable? Can you think of why this would help you as a salesperson, as a business owner, an entrepreneur trying to secure more business? Well, of course, it's going to put people at ease and comfort to feel that we're alike. And at the same time, sales resistance drops away. Now, you may not realize it, but yes, everybody approaches that new person on guard. Their resistance is high. And while we like to buy, we don't like to be sold. And so when the sales resistance drops away, trust builds. And along with trust is rapport. Now, the name of my business is Rapport Builders. I'm all about building rapport quickly and authentically. And we have an expression, which is if you have no rapport, you'll have no sales. But when you know rapport, you're going to know sales. So here's our agenda for the program. I'm going to talk about the AlikeAbility system and give you some background on it. And then we're going to go into the 4 buying styles, the 4 different ways people are wired to make buying decisions. And then I'll talk about a next assignment. For those of you who don't meet Dr. Nancy Zare, I graduated from Boston University with a degree in psychology. Years later, I went back to Boston College. I got my master's and eventually a doctorate. I am trained in the Peak Potentials system, and I'm also certified in bank sales training system. I was born a psychologist. Now, I know I just told you that I got all these degrees and credentials, but let me share with you a little bit about my background. My parents had a very stormy marriage, and it was very frightening as a little girl, the only girl and the youngest in the family, to grow up in this kind of, turbulent environment. One day I saw a TV show, Father Knows Best, in which he was dealing with quarreling children. And his technique was to sit them down and ask them what was the problem and what to do to solve it. And sure enough, remember, this was a situation television show, they did solve the problem. So the next time my parents had one of their very stormy arguments, I invited them to sit down and discuss it just like Father Knows Best. And yes, they did agree to sit down. They were miles apart in the same room. But I did what he did. I asked my dad, what's the problem? What should we do to fix it? And I wouldn't let my mother interrupt. And then I turned to my mom and I asked her the same question, what's the problem and what should we do to fix it? Again, I wouldn't let Dad interrupt. An amazing thing happened. Of course, the first thing is they listened to me and actually did what I asked. But here was what was even more extraordinary. They both were native-born English-speaking adults, and yet they could not understand what the other person had requested. It took me, the child, to interpret. And I walked away with a very amazing insight, and that is people are different. Now, you could be laughing and saying, but of course I know people are different. But do we really know that people are different? That we have to adjust ourselves for those differences if we're going to be an effective communicator? That's my insight. People are different, and we need to adjust because they're not adjusting to us. So as I mentioned, I got my undergraduate degree in psychology, eventually a master's and a doctorate, and I found myself taking a position in which I was marketing and hence selling mental health services in the workplace. Now, I didn't know about sales. I was never trained in this. In fact, as a kid, I didn't want to sell. Maybe you can identify. However, I was determined to learn how and to do it well. And that's when I came across a book, The Platinum Rule by Tony Alessandro. Now, the Platinum Rule, you may not be familiar with it, but you sure are with the Golden Rule. The Golden Rule is do unto others as I would have done for myself. Well, notice that puts me in the center of the universe. What is it that I want I'm going to give to someone else? Well, the Platinum Rule reverses it. Do unto others as they would have done for themselves. Notice that big shift because now I'm putting the prospect, the other person, in the center of the measuring stick. What is it that they want? Let me walk in their shoes. Let me speak their language. Let me look through their lens. The AlikeAbility system is based on the Platinum Rule. We're going to look through their lens. And there are 5 steps in the AlikeAbility system. Step number 1 is to define the differences in those 4 personality styles. Now, you may have heard of DISC or Myers-Briggs. There are over 200 personality systems that use this concept that was first articulated by Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, that there are 4 temperaments, 4 different ways that people are wired to make decisions and physically to be in this world. There are colors, animals, birds, fish, all sorts of them. I'm going to use the lens system. Yes, we're going to look through the lens of our prospect. And notice that lens is a four-letter word, hence this is an acronym. The L in lens stands for learning. The E in lens stands for energizing. The N in lens stands for networking. And the S in lens stands for stabilizing. Now, I don't mind whether you think of it as learning, L, or perhaps green, whether you think of it as energizing or E, or maybe red, whether you refer to it as networking or N, or perhaps yellow. I like to think of it as gold, or perhaps S for stabilizing or blue, because they are true blue. The lens system is based upon values. And I'm showing you a picture of fruits and vegetables because we know that fruits and vegetables are valuable to the body. They have nutrients, vitamins, minerals that we need. However, the ones that you prefer and the ones that I prefer might be very different. And yet, both of them, both of our preferences are valuable. And that's exactly this true with these 4 personality styles. Their values are all valuable, but just different priorities and a different emphasis. So let's take a look at our learning style, who buys information and solutions. Their number one value is to learn. Yes, this is a person who takes a deep nosedive into information. They read, they research, they surf the web. They love to learn. They tend to be intelligent, but remember, this is a value. They value intelligence. They value people who demonstrate intelligence and are smart. They also value competence, which is kind of like intelligence, but it's applied. They value people who have know-how and get things done. They themselves like to become an expert in a particular area, and they definitely value, applaud, and salute people who demonstrate expertise. And these are big picture thinkers, so they value the big picture. When you're talking with them, you want to give them an outline. You want to help them see the broad scope of the task. Now, there are 12 values in total that differentiate these 4 personality styles. And you can get a full list by going to Closing More Sales, Introduction to the AlikeAbility System, which is an ebook that is part of this package. So you want more information? Consult that book. When this person makes choices, there are 2 guiding factors. Remember, they're searching for solutions. They love solutions. They buy solutions and information. So they are very practical in making a choice. Practical means it solves a problem. And they're utilitarian. They want to solve a problem in the long haul. They want it to be useful over time. And speaking of time, this person takes time in order to make a decision. About 7 or more contacts are needed for this person to move forward. In other words, they're doing research, they're doing homework, they're thinking about it. That's not an objection for the learning style. It's actually a buying signal. They're thinking about it before they can say yes. Hence, you need a system, you need know-how in order to move forward and close the deal. Now, I would like you to think of 2 examples, a male and a female you know fairly well, maybe a family member or close friend, a work associate, someone you know well who represents the learning style, both a man and a woman, because this is going to be your measuring stick going forward. So next time you meet someone who's like Uncle Harry, you can say, that's probably a learning style. Or Sister Sue, maybe that's the learning style. Moving on to energizing. This is the person who buys adventure and experience. So think about that. Very different things that they're buying than our learning style. They're buying that adventure. They are plunging in the experience with gusto. So what are their values? Number one value is freedom. This is a person who wants no boundaries, no limits, no bosses. They want to be free, free to do, enjoy, and experience everything life has to offer. This is a person who is into action. They are go, go, go. Bluetooth in the ear, texting, driving, doing it all. They are into massive action. They're often overscheduled, hence they come late. And excitement, adventure, experience, they are buying excitement. Yes, it's all about that adrenaline rush. They love to feel that kick in their guts and that living on the edge. And winning. They compete, but it's to win. They need to come in first. They need to be the best. They need to be the only and be outstanding. This person, when they make a choice, two words are guiding their choices. One, it should be trendy. It's got to be on the cutting edge. It's got to be stylish and modern and, something that's foremost. And outstanding. They want to stand out from the pack. They want to be different. They want to be special. That red carpet treatment. And they're in a rush. This is the person that makes a decision quickly, 1 to 2 contacts. And usually I advise my clients, it's one and done. You've got to pin them down immediately. Otherwise, this person is attracted by the next exciting experience, and off they go. Bye-bye. Again, I want you to think of some examples of both male and female who are the energizing style. And now let's move to networking. This is a person who buys relationships and a bond. They're buying connection with others. So what are their values? Number one is relationships. They love people and they love that feeling of being connected in an authentic way. To reveal myself fully, to have the other person reveal their innermost thoughts, this is what they love. This is what they value. They value authenticity and connecting through a relationship. This is a person who values doing something beyond self, something, for a cause, something that may be spiritual in nature. They volunteer, they value doing for others and being of service, something significant. And harmony, getting along, being a team, singing kumbaya, a peacenik. So again, what are the 2 words that are forming their choices? The first is casual, down to earth, no pretenses, no formality, let it all hang out, just be comfortable. And the second idea is comfort, because this is a person who likes to creature comforts as well as feel comfortable, wants to put you at ease, wants the relationship to be comfortable. They're fairly fast at making up their minds. However, +1, within 24 hours after this person says yes, you want to reach back out and again renew and keep that relationship going. This person is very shy about becoming a transaction. Remember, they want to be a relationship. Thus, 2 to 3 contacts, they make up their mind fairly quickly, but within 24 hours, you want to reconnect. And again, I want you to think of some examples, male and female, who are the networking style. They're going to be your measuring stick going forward. And now our last buyer, which I call stabilizing, this is the person who's buying safety and security. Safety and security. They want things to stay the same. Hence, the first value of the stabilizing person is stability. They don't like change. They want certainty, structure, a process. They want things to be predictable and to be in alignment. They value planning. They love plans. They themselves plan. They're very well organized, and they love people who are also in the same mode. Very professional, planned, organized, has a budget. This person has a budget, and they stay within the budget. That's one of the biggest plans they make. They follow the rules. Even if you don't think there are rules in any given situation, this person knows that there are rules and they follow the rules. They expect you to. They value the rules. The rules are beyond self. And tradition. This is a person who maintains the rules and the traditions from the past. This is the person who likes to bring things forward from the past. Again, keeping things the same. 2 words that guide their choices. It should be first, classic. Classic means it never goes out of style. It's timeless and tasteful. And secondly, conservative. Again, this is the person about the past, keeping everything the way it used to be, bringing forward the traditions. Hence, they're very conservative. And that means that in terms of making decisions, they're relatively slow. 5 to 7 contacts before they move forward. What's happening during that time period? They're actually taking a look at whether you perform and your company performs as specified. So they need social proof. And some of the social proof is noticing that if you say you're going to call back on Thursday, do you call back on Thursday? Do you keep your 1 o'clock appointment by coming 1:45? These are some of the things that help them feel confident with you. Plus, of course, they will do some research with the Better Business Bureau or other sources like that to make sure that you are who you say you are and that your company is a good performer. So again, the stabilizing person, I want you to find examples of both male and females. So step number 2 is to determine your style. You're probably thinking already from the information I told you, which style am I? In fact, you're probably saying, gee, I think I've got a little bit of all 4 styles. And you do. However, one of them, maybe 2, but usually 1 is very dominant. And when you go to sell something, guess what you do? You sell it the way you buy it. Hence, 1 style will be dominant. There are 4 styles. You have 1 that you're presenting in. Hence, you're connecting 25% of the time. Only 1 out of 4 times is there a natural connection being made between you and your prospect. Hence, 75% of the time, there's not a match. Well, if there's not a match in sales, we talk about the fact that there are going to be a lot of no's. 75% of the time, you're going to get no's before you get a yes. Now, if you would like to get out of the numbers game, and definitely by working together, I'm going to get you out of the numbers game. I'm going to help you get a lot more yeses. And the way we do that is with the AlikeAbility system. Currently, your baseline of clients represents 100% of your business. But as you learn to look through the lens and speak the language and walk in the shoes of your prospect, you're going to increase 100% of your business by learning that second language. And when you learn a third style, you're going to increase 200%. And when you learn all 3 styles in addition to your own, you've now increased business 300%. And actually, I have clients who have increased business 270% and 400%, as well as many numbers in between. So yes, this is how we're going to increase your business. So what's your style? we're going to have you take the likability assessment in order to determine your dominant style. And you're going to find that this is a journey of self-discovery. You're going to learn about your strengths as well as your deficits in terms of selling. We're going to look about and identify the rough edges, because every style rubs somebody the wrong way. And we're also going to take a look at the blind spots where perhaps you are blind to what you're doing that may be turning other people off. And of course, we're going to talk about where you're stuck to get you unstuck so that you can be more successful. That's step number 2. Step number 3 is to diagnose the prospect style. Now, initially, I'm going to help you do that so that you're going to have a lot of certainty when you go and approach them. And the way I help my clients do it is within 30 to 60 seconds to learn how your client operates. And one of the first factors is their appearance. We also can figure it out through their vocal qualities, through their behaviors, the email or other correspondence you receive, the decor. If you get to go into their office or their home, you get to see how their desk is arranged, or perhaps the artwork on the walls or lack thereof, and social media presence. And by the way, I have a special video just on identifying people's style through social media. So that's step number 3, and that brings us to step number 4, how to match their style. And this is where you get a likability, because when you shift yourself into their style, that's when they relax, that's when they're comfortable, that's when the sales resistance goes away, the trust builds, and you're in rapport. But we do it with authenticity. This is not a mirroring technique. We're doing it based upon values, based upon how this person thinks. It's like getting into their mind and understanding their priorities. Because when you look through their lens, you speak their words, that's when they relax and feel like, you get me, we're alike. And finally, step number 5, we have to discard what doesn't match. And as I told you, every style has rough edges that rub people the wrong way. We need to examine and know what your rough edges are and rein them in, smooth them over. And those blind spots, you need to be aware of them and how you can work to overcome the blind spots. Because yes, knowing your failings can help you become more successful by focusing on your strengths. It's a simple system. It gets profound results. I'm thinking of Lou, who's one of my clients, who every week when he goes to an open house, he's a home stager and photographer, he's able to build rapport with the person who is at the open house, and he's making sale after sale after sale. So this brings me to the assignment. And the assignment, of course, we've been talking about your identifying examples. Don't overlook the value of this assignment. It will really help you to get in your mind a picture, a feeling for what that other person might be like. And then you can use that as a measuring stick going forward. However, the next assignment, if you haven't already done so, be sure to take and complete the likability assessment. This is how you're going to know your own style and how we can help you identify both your rough spots as well as your rough edges and your blind spots. So again, thank you for participating in Seize Your Sales Success. I want to welcome you to your next success.